video because one of the people that the subscribers here gave me a tip. He said the front end of my when I was talking, it would be cut off a little bit. I'm learning here with the technology a little bit, but so you guys bear with me on that. Today I felt it necessary, especially for those of you that are newer to the cryptocurrency space. I've been in this, but not just in this, but in investing in general. I've been investing for 20 years, but in investing in cryptocurrencies since around somewhere in the 2013, 2014 range. But I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to do a recap, show you some of the things that have happened, and I wanted you to understand a principle of investing that is very important. But in crypto, it's even more important because of the newness of it, the newness of the technology, and a lot of the things that you will hear that just either aren't true, or people that are making statements that don't even know what they're talking about because they know nothing about the crypto space. But I wanted to start this with a quote from Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's. He's Warren Buffett's prophet. He's Warren Buffett's partner in Berkshire Hathaway, I believe. So anyway, he says a lot of people with high IQs are terrible investors because they've got terrible temperaments. You need to keep raw, irrational emotion under control. And I think that quote captures the cryptocurrency market to a T. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to take you back and let's look at some of the crashes that have happened since 2013. And I want to take you through those. And I want you to be thinking in your mind as I go through these, what would have happened if let's say you owned 1,000 Bitcoin that you had gotten at below pennies. What would have happened? What would you have right now if you had thought rationally instead of emotionally and you had held? First of all, I want to say this chart right here is the best chart in terms of information I could find, but it's a little blurry and I'm sorry for that. But it perfectly illustrates. Now, the reason that I'm using Bitcoin here is because historically Bitcoin was the first one out, and everything, even to this day, has pretty much tracked Bitcoin. That's going to change. You're going to have, especially the Ripple XRPs of the world, they're going to dwarf Bitcoin. But because Bitcoin was the first mover, and I'm not saying Bitcoin's not going to stay around, I think it will. And I think Bitcoin will be a big part of the revolution. But eventually XRP, because of how fast it is and how useful it is, it'll overtake Bitcoin. But that's not the point of this video today. The reason I'm going to use Bitcoin in most of the discussion is because there's more information on the crashes of Bitcoin, but just you can make the assumption, because I was there for a lot of this. When Bitcoin crashed, so did everything else, and you can look back at some charts on that. But there's a lot of information and articles out there that have the title of Bitcoin in them, and for that reason I use Bitcoin as the example to illustrate this point. As you can see, back in 2012, if you can imagine, Bitcoin was at 738. But this shows you the percentage declines in all of these different crashes from 2012 to 2017. This one, it went down 83% in April of 2013, 87% in November of 2013. But this right here really shows you each time it comes back. Sometimes, like in this case, it took over a year for it to come back, but it came back. So anyway, I wanted you to see there have been several, like this crash that we're going through from December right now. In fact, this chart didn't show it, so I found another one. This was visualizing all horrific Bitcoin crashes. This was the one in December, 19,000 something down to 5,900, 70% decline. So I wanted to show all these corrections, and then I wanted to show you some other things. This is what people do not focus on, and take a step back and focus on the why. And the why tells you of the irrational aspect of this market. This is the crash of April 2013. Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox taken offline yet again by a stronger than usual DDoS attack. And this was back when Bitcoin was the main place that Bitcoin was traded was on Mt. Gox. And so the entire market, all of the cryptocurrencies, because there was some people trying to hack Mt. Gox, just over a potential hack, the entire market crashed. Okay, then but the point in looking at this is, and this is how I look at cryptocurrencies when I see this, because at the time that this happened, I was holding cryptocurrencies. This did not sway me in one way or another, because it has absolutely nothing to do with blockchain technology. I mean, in terms of the long-term viability and how revolutionary the technology is, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. And so when something like this happens and all of the flock starts to go for the doors and head out of cryptocurrencies, that has never made any sense to me. And the people that did that, if they didn't come back in, where are they now? So that's what I see when I see this. Well, here's the next one. This is when Mt. Gox actually was hacked and eventually went bankrupt. And now even this, and this was in 2014. Even this did not sway me, because I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, what does this have? This Mt. Gox, that from what I've read was poorly run. So you've got one guy who's not running an exchange correctly. This just tells me that we're in the new frontier, and here's one guy. But at the same time that this happened, you had many exchanges that were popping up. You had many that were trying to be hacked. But all this presented was the challenge of, okay, this was the beginnings of custody being an issue in digital currencies. And so if you're looking at the big picture, this, again, if you're thinking emotionally, you got out right here and you never looked back. You got out. Those of us that stayed in were rewarded handsomely. And then you had this. This was in September of 2017. This, I believe, was about the second or third time that I had heard of the communist, and let's not forget they're communist, the communist country of China banning, whether they're acting like they're going to ban cryptocurrencies, or in this case, they're going to ban ICOs. Well, what does that have to do with my intellectual investment in cryptocurrencies? That is one country that is not even democratic, who is banning things to maintain control over their population. Why on earth would that make me want to sell my cryptocurrencies, which is a revolutionary technology? It wouldn't. And those that reacted to this emotionally lost. Okay. This right here was and many people don't even remember this, but I do. This was December of this past year when the major run up happened. And what initially triggered the crash after the December run up was when CoinMarketCap, without telling anybody, if you remember at the time and to this day, Korean prices are a good bit higher than U.S. prices and prices that are around the world. Well, CoinMarketCap, they reflected the Korean prices, and what they did I think it was towards the end of December, is they without any warning whatsoever, they changed the coin market prices from what showed Korean prices, and they changed them and lowered them to the US prices. So people woke up that next morning, and when they woke up, they thought it looked like the prices had dropped. And CoinMarketCap, this was completely irresponsible. What they should have done is had a big, huge banner at the top of the page that says prices have not dropped. But anyway, they did. And when they did that, that spun us into what has now been about a 5-month downward spiral and correction. Well, I don't look at that and say, oh, well, if I was reacting emotionally, I would look at that and be, oh, this is awful. Our market's gone down for 5 months, and it's the end of cryptocurrencies. But if you think about that intellectually, you look at the cryptocurrency you own and you see this and you say, what kind of a moron would sell all their cryptocurrencies because of one thing that makes no sense, that one company that lists the prices of digital currencies did? This makes absolutely no sense. Well, it's the difference between thinking emotionally and thinking rationally. Are you an emotional investor, or are you a rational investor? And my argument is that if you're an emotional investor, you'll lose probably for the rest of your life when you're investing. But if you think rationally and you always maintain your calm and look at something like this and see it for what it is, instead of making you nervous about your investment, you're going to be a winner. So I also wanted to show this. In almost every single one of these crash situations, the media, who is not helping any of us at all, declares Bitcoin and thus cryptocurrencies dead. This was when they declared it dead in March of 2014. They also declared it might be dead. And this was in 2015 in January. Bitcoin might be dead. And then again, they declared Bitcoin is dead. And this was in April 25th of 2016. So I think we can establish at this point, the media doesn't know what in the hell they're talking about. And they have agendas that don't have anything to do with the quality of our digital currency investments. And so, but I wanted to further illustrate this point in saying that your $1,000 invested in Bitcoin after the April 2013 crash would have gotten you 22.22 Bitcoin. Today's value of Bitcoin, this was as of yesterday when I checked, was $7,500, which you would have around $166,650. That is if you had stuck to your guns. I put this quote here from Peter Lynch for a reason. Know what you own and know why you own it. Because if you had thought like that and thought rationally instead of emotionally back in 2013 when this happened, and you had just put your stuff, left it alone, knowing that the revolution was coming, which it is, and you had known what you're invested in, this is you. The people that didn't, all they have is a bad story, okay? But this is what, if you get nothing else out of this video, know what you own and know why you own it. What I know, let me show you what I know. I know no matter what the crash that happens today, let's say today that they say, oh, well, China's going to ban whatever today. It doesn't matter. What I know is that blockchain technology is still revolutionary. It doesn't matter what a communist country does. I also know that Ripple is still the fastest cryptocurrency. I know that Ripple is still the most scalable. I know that Ripple is still the cheapest. I know that Ripple is working with over 40 central banks and over 150 banks. I know that Ripple is still working with Western Union and MoneyGram. And I also know that Ashton Kutcher was on the Ellen DeGeneres show and just donated $4 million to Ellen's charity, and that 70 plus million people know about Ripple that did not know it last week. So These are the things you need to remember when we go through these things. You're in it. We're in it to win it, and we're with a winner. And you can't just all of a sudden throw all of that out the window because of something that somebody that has nothing to do with your investment does. I wanted to finish this conversation by giving you this. And this right here pretty much spells it out. I don't really even have to read this to you, but just read that to yourself. This poor guy had 1,700 Bitcoin, sells them at 30 cents. And this was in 2011. Imagine how sick to this guy's stomach. Now, this guy, I can bet you, sold on emotion. And he was not looking at the big picture. The big picture is that we've got at least 2 to 5 years of a revolution that's right in front of us. So do not get emotional. Just be confident and know who Ripple is, or whatever your investment is. If I have to assume you know it, but be confident in what you have, because the world is fixing to change. I also, in this video, I wanted to take just a brief moment, because I have, when I started this YouTube channel, it was after watching several different people. And so I was going to give a shout out to 3 of them today, because they are 3 of them that have interacted a little bit and mentioned me, and so I'm going to give them their due, because I was watching them before I even started my YouTube channel, and so I want to give them credit. And the first one is Alex Cobb. He, just so you know, he does a live broadcast every day at 1:30, and I watch it. And he's a young man. He's probably 18 years old or so, and he's a very industrious young man, and I'm pretty impressed with him. He knows XRP and Ripple backwards and forwards, and so don't assume that because he's young that he doesn't know what he's talking about, because he does. He's a very smart guy, and so anytime you can, go subscribe to his channel and watch it, because ultimately we're all on the same team. Ripple is going to go to amazing places, and we're going to take the ride with him, and I consider this guy in the Ripple army with me. The next one is, if I can get it to come up, is, well, Jungle Inc. Okay, this guy, this guy's funny to listen to me. I don't say funny because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He does. He's a very smart guy as well, but he adds a little bit of humor to it. He's always talking about how we're all going to be driving our Bentleys, and he's got an interesting accent. I like him a lot. I listen to him every time that he puts a video up. So subscribe to his channel too. This is also a guy that's really good. These guys are all so much better technologically than I am too. So I'm trying to catch up on that end. But the Crypto Nomad, he's got some great graphics and all on his site. But he actually sent me a note yesterday, so I decided I would include him in this too. But also because he's good. He's really thorough, and he stays up with the current news and everything. So anyway, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I am not an investment advisor, and please subscribe to my channel and like all these videos. I'm trying to grow the channel, and if I can grow it to the point that I want to, then I'll start doing live broadcasts, and I'll make sure I'm putting more videos up, and we can keep this thing going. Thank you so much.